Good morning and welcome to Carolina Cares, an iHeartMedia production. I'm Tyler Ryan, your host, and today we're talking about kids. We have two different sets of guests this morning, all with that same theme. First, Richland One, the school district, or representative thereof, will be joining us this morning speaking about a $15 million grant that was given to the school district to create and enhance 4 magnet schools, of course, giving students and their parents a few separate choices on career paths they can take from the kindergarten level all the way up to the high school level with Richland One, and of course teaching a very sacred job. Also another sacred role, I believe anyway, and that is the role of a foster parent. Yeah, there are thousands of children who are in foster homes as we speak, and there's a critical need right here in Richland and Lexington County to the tune of 330 children need a safe place to go tonight. Sometimes things in homes, well, they need a little distance from time to time, and that's that role of that foster parent, the foster family, giving that child or even siblings stability, a place to lay their head and maybe get out of a situation that at the minute just isn't the best one to be in. So we'll be speaking with DSS about how you can become a foster parent and what the foster parenting program is all about here in South Carolina and the magnet schools at Richland One. Stay with us. Carolina Cares. We'll be right back.
Major key alert. Don't ever play yourself. Life is like school. You will be tested, so pass it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com.
Stay focused. Now that's a major key alert.
Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Carolina Cares. I'm Tyler Ryan, and there's a critical need for a lot of things in the state of South Carolina and frankly across the country, but one of the most critical needs has to do with our children, specifically foster children. In fact, there are 4,500 children that are in foster care here in the Palmetto State alone, and that's wonderful. There's many, many foster parents who do a great job to keep these children who desperately need guidance and help and a place to lay their head down. But there's still a need. In fact, to the tune of 330 foster parents are required right now. There's 350 kids that need some place to stay. And that is the mission of the foster care unit here with the Department of Social Services. Joining me this morning, Kathleen Getzman and Christy Shane. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
So let's talk a little bit about foster care. We all know kind of a foster home. You've all heard of foster homes all the way back from Annie on up. We have the somewhat sometimes bad stigma of foster homes, but the truth of the matter is foster care is a very important task, right?
It sure is. I mean, when kids are neglected or abused, they have to be temporarily taken away by law enforcement in most cases. Then law enforcement calls the Department of Social Services, and we have to find an appropriate, safe, loving home for those kids. And most of the time, it's siblings, and so that's a little more challenging because you want to keep the siblings together.
Sure, you definitely don't want to be broken up because that makes a bad situation even worse.
Exactly.
When you can't be with what you'd maybe have as a support system, even in a bad situation, a sister, brothers, all you got.
Right, exactly. And that is why Christy and I are here today to talk about we need homes that will take sibling groups. I know the larger sibling groups are even more challenging, but we really need that. Sure. Because they've got enough trauma going on, and then that move away from their school and their friends and maybe their church, all of their support network is gone. The further away from their home they have to move.
Right.
And the reality right now is that without enough homes in Richland and Lexington County, these kids could be in neighboring counties or even across the state.
Sure.
Temporarily. But it's a bad situation for them to be that far away.
How does one, I guess it's a family decision when you start to become a foster home, if you say, to your wife or to your husband, your spouse, whatever, let's do this. How does that process go? Is it a long process? I mean, do I have to fill out paperwork? Christy, what happens? I mean, obviously, just not everybody can be a foster parent.
That's right. It takes about 4 months to be licensed as a foster parent. Mm-hmm. There's a process you go through. You fill out an application. You have to get your home inspected. You have to do a little bit of training so you'll know what kind of issues you'll be dealing with.
Right.
And you have to undergo a background check. So we have to make sure your home is safe and that you're equipped to be licensed as a foster parent.
Sure.
It takes about 4 months, depending on how quickly you do your paperwork.
Obviously you don't all have to live in a multi-million-dollar mansion to become a foster parent. I don't think that's probably a requirement. But what are some disqualifiers? Because I'm sure there's a lot more ways to say things are qualified than not. But what are some disqualifiers for someone maybe they want to?
Well, You don't have to be married. You can be a single parent as well. You don't have to own your home. You can rent. You have to be at least 21. So really, the rest of it is up to you. You have to have a clean background. You can't,
Right, of course.
Have a criminal background. But otherwise, you just have to have a lot of love and patience. And those two things are really important. And you have to be able to welcome these children into your family.
Right. And that's got to be the thing they need the most in a really bad situation. I mean, if law enforcement's coming in and removing a child from their home, there's a lot going on there that shouldn't be going on, period. It's not just a quick little case.
Right. And so when DSS receives the children, we may have quite a bit of information and we may have very little. And then when the children leave and we take them to a foster home, they may be bringing almost nothing with them, which, just adds to their discomfort or fear. Sometimes it's up to the parent as to, no, I don't want you to take anything right now, or I don't want you to take anything at all. And South Carolina Foster Parent Association gives a bag, like a duffel bag, a suitcase kind of thing, to each child.
Sure.
So that's very helpful. And actually, the people that put that together are your neighbors across the street, the South Carolina Baptist Convention. They're the ones that donate the bags for the kids.
Wonderful.
But other people donate bags as well, and you can never have enough because there are children coming in and out of care every day.
Sure. What did we say at the beginning here? 4,500 children in South Carolina at any, obviously average number at any given time, or in some sort of foster care across the state?
That's right. We have more than 4,500 children as of May 1st. Those children have all been abused, neglected. They come from challenged situations, and we need about 1,500 more homes to keep them safe.
Sure. As a foster parent, and I know it's a consideration, I'm sure, as there may be a lot of love, a lot of nurturing, a lot of desire in a young family, who ultimately has to pay, obviously increased expenses? You've got a child, you've got a mouth or two or three to feed extra. Is that the foster parents? Does that come out of their pocket, or is there some sort of assistance if I'm going to add 3 mouths to my kitchen table? Where does that come from?
There's a room and board that the state pays for each child.
Okay.
And the medical expenses are all included.
Well, and I want to make sure I point that out. I just,
That's
that because you might have a young family that I'd love to, we just can't afford another mouth. But if it's taken care of, then that takes that concern out of it.
That's right. It's taken care of.
What's the average stay if you're a foster parent? How long does a kid stay with me?
It really depends. It could be a quick weekend stay, or it could be more of a year. It depends on what situation the child comes from. We work with the bio parents to come up with a treatment plan to address whatever issue is causing us to remove the child. And if the parent meets all the requirements, then sometimes those stays are short.
Sure.
And if they don't, then the stays are longer. It just really depends on what kind of situation the child is removed from.
Do you hear stories, and I'm sure you're in touch with a lot of kids, and you guys are a fairly large agency, but I'm sure there's caseworkers that are assigned to each child. But do you often hear stories of these foster homes or foster parents that stay in the kids' lives once they kind of go back home, back to their own sense of normal? Is there still a relationship that's built?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes the foster parents become great mentors for the child and partners with the biological parents to provide even more guidance. So, yes, sometimes, yes.
Right. Speaking with Kathleen and Christy from DSS and talking about foster care awareness. Foster Care Awareness Month is this month, and you can check out scfamilies.org. That is the web address, correct?
Right.
scfamilies.org for more information on foster care. So I understand you want to keep them probably as close to home, as close to normal as possible. If you're from Lexington County, you don't necessarily want to move them to Chester County, right? Why is that?
It's really important because when a child comes into care, they're at their most vulnerable point. And we need to keep them near their support network, however tenuous that might be.
Right.
So that means trying to keep them in their school, in their elementary school that they're currently in, near their church, if they're on a ball team or a scout troop, around whatever friends they have, so their life outside of home continues to be normal.
Okay.
If we're not able to place them in their home county, then that means they have to change schools. They have to change churches. They can't participate in dance class anymore. And those sorts of things are really important in the sense of normalcy for children to get back their lives.
Is there any safety concerns for a foster parent? I mean, I'm sure that's got to be a question that's asked by potential foster parents, foster homes. You know, when kids are taken out of a volatile situation, a bad situation, you know, do you find that there's safety? You know, where the parents saying, you know what, I'm going to go to that foster house. I'm going to take my kid. It's my kid, darn it all. How do you deal with that?
You're talking about the bio parent trying to find the foster children? Okay.
Yeah. If you've got the kid who's going to stay in dance class and stay on the baseball team, still be in the community, and the bio dad's like, there ain't nobody taking my kid. How do you deal with that and provide some sort of safety and security, not only for the foster kids, but of course the child too?
Well, if the biological parents are in some way threatening, then, you know, where the kids are going to be taken is going to be, you know, private. I mean,
Sure.
they're not going to know where the kids are being taken in any event. But there are a handful of cases where, you know, especially with the internet now, it's a little easier to find people, even children.
True enough.
But in most cases, you know, that would be a case where you might want to move the child away from their regular thing temporarily because of a threatening parent. 'Cause normally we try to keep them, like we're saying, as close as home to possible.
We take every precaution to make sure that doesn't happen. We lean on law enforcement, our best partner in keeping children safe.
Right.
So if that's going to be a concern, we make sure that child is placed in the appropriate place.
Perfect. What about how you select to marry a candidate, a child who's been taken out of his house for whatever reason, and you know, if you've got your roster of potential placement houses, families, foster homes, you know, in Lexington County, here's your list of 20 that are available. Is there a process, or do you just kind of just say, well, I'm going to bring them by John Smith's house down the street?
There is a process. When you become a foster parent, you can tell us what age range children you are most able to care for. So if, in fact, you're a stay-at-home parent and you want to focus on smaller children who don't go to school, then that's what we would look to you for.
Okay.
If you're a two-parent working home and you need to focus on children who go to school, maybe teenagers or older kids, then that's what we would look to you for. We try to marry the skill set of the parents and the challenges in their home with the needs of the children.
I don't think I'd want to change diapers. That's why I'm asking.
Well, we won't look for you. We won't place any babies with you then.
And we always have teens, so we really look for people that specifically want teens, although most people will be willing to take any child because of the need.
Right. And you age out, I assume, at 17, 18 would obviously be the oldest foster child would be placed
At
with
18.
a family. At 18 years old. So the need here in Lexington, Richland County, 330 homes right now are needed to meet the need of the kids. Those 330 kids who are in need of a place, a nice, safe, warm bed, meal tonight, and just a good environment, right?
That's right. That would enable us to keep all of those kids close to home, in their same schools, in their same churches, around their friends, near their network of support.
Sure.
And in most cases, if they can stay in that area, people won't even realize that they're in a foster home temporarily.
Right.
Which is important.
Right. Yeah. And you don't get the stigma. You don't get that.
Right.
That
Especially
issue.
with the older children.
Right. Understood.
And I wanted to point out that the thing that people, I think, hesitate on is, oh, I'm not prepared. How can one be prepared? Anything can happen. Will I have support and training? Well, first, through the licensing process where you get approved, you're getting orientation and training there. And then once you become a foster parent, there's ongoing training. Most will come to your city, you know, wherever you are in South Carolina. We just finished a big conference a yearly conference up in Greenville, which is 2 full days of training. And you get your choice of workshops and, you know, it's unbelievable. I mean, Christy went this year for the first time. I've been a couple of times, and there's just so much to learn.
Sure.
It's just, but they'll bring it down to the practical level of, hey, I'm a temporary dad or I'm a temporary mom. Whether you've had children of your own or not, there's a lot to learn about trauma.
Right.
And so that's the element that people are a little shaky on sometimes, that, well, I can do some internet research, but I really need some help from experts. And we have that help with the South Carolina Foster Parent Association doing that training.
And that's a great point.
And
too.
also, our network of foster parents are our biggest resource for that.
Right.
So we're constantly connecting people with each other.
So the parents helping parents, foster
Parents helping parents, right?
I love it.
And
All right.
there's a lot of what that association is, not just the professionals, but, you know, each local area has their own local support group.
Perfect.
And they definitely help each other.
Talking about fostering their critical need is I think it's a very important job. It's up there with teachers and cops folks who are protecting our kids. It doesn't get any better than that. But if you're interested in learning about fostering, you can go to scfamilies.org, learn about foster care, become a certified foster parent, and welcome these youngsters who need some stability in their home. Kathleen, Getzman, Christy, Shane, ladies, thank you for joining us this morning on Carolina Cares.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for shining the light.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Carolina Cares. I'm Tyler Ryan, and I grew up in a pretty rural area in New Hampshire, and I think probably my K through 12 school may have had 300 kids or so. Fast forward 20, 30, well, let's just fast forward a few years. Let's do it that way. And schools, people, populations exploding, and so many great school districts here in the Midlands. We're very blessed to have so many great ones, including Richland One. So my 300 kids K to 12 is nothing compared to the 15,000 children that go to Richland One. My goodness. Well, we're speaking education today. Teresa Turner from Richland One, you are about to be the project director for 4 new magnet schools.
That is correct.
Good gracious.
Yes.
Tell me what a magnet school is again. I grew up in New England. We don't, at least then, I don't know what they were. What's a magnet school versus just Eau Claire?
Right. So a magnet school is an opportunity to draw different people to a different school. For instance, the purpose of our 4 magnet program really to diversify the schools and to bring a new type of program to parents so parents have more choice in our district.
How do if I decide I want to send my child to a magnet school, is there, there can't be, not everybody can go because, there's probably enough seats. So how does that process work as a parent?
So we have a lottery. In the fall, we usually advertise the career fair, and we'll have a choice fair. Our choice fair usually is December or January, and at that choice fair, you could come attend, find out more information, or you could go on our website. Of course, after the lottery, we will let parents know if you've gotten in or if you're on a wait list. So it just depends on how many parents are interested in the programs.
Sure. Now, is it a true lottery, or are the students evaluated kind of like a college application where you say, hey, these grades are good, this is a good fit for our school, or is it just pulling a hat out of the box? Hey, Tyler Ryan's going.
It's a true lottery. Okay. So parents are asked to come to a parent information session at the schools they're interested in. And at that session, they'll find out information. They'll get an application. They'll fill it out. Their name goes into a lottery. It's randomly selected, and hopefully you'll get picked.
Now, does it cost extra to be a charter school? Do you have to pay extra in taxes, or is it just part of my main tax base?
It's part of your tax base. It's part of your choice. And the 4 new schools are part of the U.S. Department of Education's program called Magnet School Program, Magnet Schools Assistance Program. And we just won a $15 million award from the U.S. Department of Education, which is why we're expanding language immersion and adding the 3 new magnets at Bradley, Sanders, and Keenan.
So what are the 4 magnets going to be? So you get language immersion. What are the other 3 then?
Yeah, the other 3 are career preparation.
Okay.
So at Bradley, you're going to learn more about different career options. The students at Bradley will be able to go on different job fairs and different career fairs, and then they'll get a little more exposure when they get to middle school at Sanders. There'll be job shadowing experiences, and then once they get to Keenan, there are 4 academies to choose from. And when we have those 4 academies, it'll be engineering, tourism, government, and entrepreneurship.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, it's neat.
And also, what are the grade levels of a charter school? Can I put my first grader in, and the student, my daughter, whatever, stays in that charter school all the way through graduation, or is it like a high school, or how does that work?
So, for instance, if you choose to go to the Career Magnet School at Bradley and continue your entire career, you'll go from Bradley to Sanders to Keenan. So you can graduate from kindergarten to 12th grade.
Is there a lottery every year, though? Do I have to, or once I'm in if I want to stay?
Once you're in if you want to stay. Absolutely.
Okay. I love that. Speaking just all I say about Richland One, Teresa Turner, and if you want information on Richland One or anything else, you can check out richland1.org, and that's spelled out O-N-E, richland1.org. So, gosh, 15,000 kids, though, go to Richland One.
We have a lot of children.
How long have you been in education?
Oh, gosh. 17 years total.
Right.
Yeah, I've been a principal for 7 years.
Goodness. How many, do you give out detentions nowadays as a principal?
We try not to.
I was always scared to death of my principal. He was not very nice.
I believe victory's in the classroom, so we like to keep kids in the classroom with the teachers.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
How have you seen education change, over and things, everything ebbs and flows, at just no matter what career path or whatever industry you're in, things change in time. What have you seen in your nearly 2 decades? What have you seen?
Definitely more accountability for testing. So when I first started teaching, we did have end of the grade tests, but the pressure wasn't quite as much as it is now.
Right.
So we're actually testing today. My students are testing right now.
Yeah, they're taking a test.
They are end of grade tests.
Fantastic. So, and do you think that the engagement with students is the same, better, as a teacher? I mean, teaching like nursing, like police work, it's a calling, and
it is.
And I think it's a very honorable. My mom was a teacher. My dad taught college.
Okay.
So it's been. I grew up around teachers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I understand that calling, and it's one of the most honorable jobs, in my opinion, anyway, that you could have, a career field to teach a child something. How are you seeing? What do you think of the teachers that are coming out? We're producing. I mean, mine were old when I was in 7th grade. Mine are all like 5 million years old now. They could have been maybe in the 30s because I was like 10. But the point is,
yes,
we're like 5 million years old.
Yes, no, they're actually a lot younger. I have a fairly young staff. My language immersion teachers are usually right out of college or just a few years in the field.
Right.
So they have a lot of energy.
They
could keep up with the kids.
Right?
Yes, they could keep up with them.
How have things like the technology, the technological advancements, maybe even the last 5, 6, 7 years? It's kind of scary to think that the iPhone has only been out for 10 years. It seems like it's always been out.
Wow.
But they just celebrated their 10th anniversary a couple months ago. How has that really changed the teaching style and what the kids are getting out of it?
It has tremendously. I believe that we as educators have to keep up with the kids, and kids are exposed to technology so much earlier. So at my school, we're one-to-one with technology. Okay. We have iPads, laptops. We have
so each
smart
student
boards.
gets their own unit.
Device. Yeah.
Okay,
they have their own device.
What's a smart board?
It's like a whiteboard on steroids. It's an amazing whiteboard that you can connect to your computer and you can do anything.
It's a smart board. It's a board, Tyler, that's smart. Thank you very much, Ms. Turner. I understand.
That is true.
That is great. Do you miss books?
That's a good question. As a teacher, I feel like they prefer not to use books because it's easier to keep up with, the books that are just, loaded on the iPads.
Right.
Personally, I do. I still enjoy a good book.
Yeah, I do. I
turning
print
the
everything
pages
out.
down and writing in that's me.
I do. I'll read an email off my phone or my iPad.
Yeah.
But if I'm actually going to sit and read something, I need
paper.
I need the paper.
Yeah.
I don't, One thing, I have a 14-year-old daughter. She's about to hit high school this fall. She'll be in high school. She's in 8th grade now. One thing I've noticed and I actually kind of like it, is you were talking about accountability, is she has constant contact with her teacher now. Yeah. If she misses something, if there's misses a class, she can get information. If she has a question, where the old days you used to have to make an appointment, or you'd have during lunch, the kids would come in and say, hey, can I take 5 minutes?
Yeah.
But now a teacher, it's almost, access, I think it's great, it's unfettered access, being it's Sunday afternoon, I can send an email, and not that a teacher works 24 hours a day, but you might get an answer.
Right. You probably will.
Right? Yeah, you probably will.
You probably will. The world's getting smaller, so everybody's much more connected nowadays.
Sure. How do you handle, when you're talking technology, how do you handle the safety concerns as a school district? And my daughter goes to Lexington, so I don't know a lot about Richland One, but how do you protect our kids, because there's bad guys out there, and
Right.
technology is like the direct connect to them.
It is.
How do you teach them that responsibility, the awesome
Right.
responsibility of social media, of the internet, of the world literally at your fingertips?
Mm-hmm. Well, we do an orientation before they get the devices, so they learn the how-tos, but also like how to be responsible with technology.
Right.
Of course, with the district, we have lots of filters, so there's not that much they could get on because we filter a lot of sites out.
And that's a good thing as well.
Mhm,
So
absolutely.
I know my daughter's, and I mean, I think when we took a phone away from her one time, I think, honest to God, she was literally going to die.
Oh.
She told us she was literally going to die, and I'm like, my goodness, I'm pretty sure that's not the case.
It's not going to happen. Yes, we're so connected to technology nowadays, so.
Speaking with Teresa Turner from Richland One, the project director for the new magnet schools that are going Richland One. You can check out richlandone.org. How many teachers? Do you have any idea how many teachers Richland One has?
Oh gosh, close to 4,000 or 5,000.
Wow,
it's a lot of personnel. And when I think of teachers, I think of bus drivers and cafeteria workers. Just all of us. We have a huge staff here.
Yeah, I've never understood the difference between faculty and staff. I think that everyone,
it's all the same.
Everybody plays a role. I mean, I really do. Whether you're the janitor, the bus driver, or the teacher, there's that interaction, and I think the students look to that role regardless. And so you may not be teaching math, but you're still, I think, that important. That
you're
role
a safe
of
adult in the building.
Yeah, a mentor. A mentor.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is. What other good things is Richland One looking forward to? I know you guys are growing again, as all the schools are. It's my turn around. There's new subdivisions going up. There's new, so it has to be new schools because there's kids everywhere.
That's true.
Right.
Well, we have a very innovative superintendent, Dr. Craig Witherspoon. He has an amazing vision of bringing more choice options to parents in the future. And I believe that we've always had choice and signature programs at schools, but now we're exposing those more to the public and letting the public know what's available here in Richland One.
Just like that. I love it. What part of Richland County is Richland One primarily?
Mostly downtown and then out towards Lower Richland area and then up towards Broad River Road. So I have students who are on the bus for over an hour in the morning because they live towards Eastover.
Yeah.
But we provide transportation to anyone who lives in the district. So we bus our kids in from all over.
Do I, as a parent of Richland One, have a choice of which school I send my kid to, as long as it's within Richland One? Or
Well, you're zoned for a school based on your address.
Okay.
However, you can apply to a choice school,
okay,
Montessori or one of the magnet schools.
Sure. I love it. Miss Teresa Turner from Richland One talking about the great stuff happening. School, 15,000 kids. My goodness gracious.
A lot of little people.
All right, so one of those 4 magnet schools opening up?
Ashley Carver Lyon is open now. Okay. We're in our second year with the language immersion program. But Bradley will get the new magnet program, as well as Sanders and Keenan High School.
Wonderful. I love it. And you're the big boss there. The big boss. I love it. Oh, yes. There it is, guys.
We work together.
If you'd like to learn more about the magnet schools and, of course, Richland One, if your family's moving into Richland One or just wondering about your own school district and your kids, you can check out richlandone.org, and that Richland One is spelled out. So richlandone.org. I love it. I love what you guys do. Thank you so much for taking such good care and putting your passion into our young, as I call them, skulls full of mush.
Okay.
Looking to learn.
Thank you for trusting us with your children.
Absolutely, guys. Carolina Cares. We'll be right back.
Major key alert. Don't ever play yourself. Life is like school. You will be tested, so pass it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com.
Stay focused. Now that's a major key alert.
Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
Well, that is going to do it for this week's edition of Carolina Cares. Once again, thank you to our friends with DSS. Foster Care Awareness Month is happening. You can check out scfamilies.org for more information on foster care, becoming a foster parent or foster home. And if you are in Richland One or moving to Richland One and want to be involved or get more information on the magnet schools or anything Richland One related, you can check out their website, Richland One. That's ONE, the word one.org, richlandone.org. And of course, if you represent an agency or organization and you'd like to appear on Carolina Cares, you can shoot me an email directly, TylerRyan@iHeartMedia.com. And that is going to put the cherry on the top of this week's Carolina Cares program, an iHeartMedia production. My name is Tyler Ryan. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a fantastic week.